Welcome to the Businessmen and Women of Color podcast. I am your host, Ann Alston, and it is once again my pleasure to bring quality programs to all of you today. I am, yes, excited again and again and again to be here in the fourth year of the BMWOC, where we have over 50 some odd people on the podcast. I can't believe we're actually doing it again. If you haven't got a chance to check out what's been going on in the BMWOC, make sure that you go back into the prior years to see how many people have really got on this platform and have shown that this is something that is desperately needed out there in the communities all over the world. And just in case you did not know what the purpose of the BMWOC is to not only unify our industries across the nation, but we are also sharing our information to encourage future career seekers, speakers, authors, and anyone that has a talent that is looking for more information about how they can advance their business and career goals. So make sure that you visit all of the pages and make sure you listen to all the podcasts and visit everybody and just check them out. Click on their links, buy a book, because there are business owners, speakers, and authors, and so they need you to show them that you value their story. Before we get into our next dynamic speaker today, who is in the field of information technology, which is the field that I love, I first want to take a moment to thank our corporate sponsors, who are My Financial Home, Evangelism Radio, JNF Enterprises, Sears Consulting, Autism Families Rock, Awakening to Love, Eli Natoli, Kimberly McLemore, True Synergy, and Platinum Financial Services, along with all of our other participants who is helping to make this event a huge, huge success in 2019. So, again, as I mentioned at the top of the hour, we have another dynamic and amazing woman of color who is in the information technology space. And she's going to be talking about her background and her story of how she got into information technology and the impacts that she is making with her talent and programs that she is developing here in 2019. So, I want to bring to the podcast Kenyatta Powers. Kenyatta Powers is the Chief Information Officer for the Department of Human Services, Maryland State Government. She has also served over 20 years, both a consultant and an employee for different leadership positions as a CEO, as among other positions as a senior level technology executive, combined project management, technical expertise, and business proficiency to develop all of these types of things as far as information technology. In addition to her accolades, she is also a person that advocates for STEM technology, STEM education, and she is a mentor in the Women in Technology and also many other mentor programs throughout the state of Maryland. She consistently mentors and encourages her staff to take part in technological advances and project management technology so that they can transform their skills to better things. And so you're going to continue reading the rest of her bio because she has a lot of technical words in here and I don't want to mess it up. So let's just bring to the podcast Kenyatta Powers. Kenyatta, how are you doing?
Hi, I'm fine. I'm fine. Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely, absolutely. I am just excited because I'm always excited to see another woman of color in the technology space. So tell everybody where you're from and where'd you grow up and what was your interest when you were a kid and what led you into information technology?
Well, I actually grew up in a little small town called Tappahannock, Virginia. It is very small that if you kind of blinked hard, you might have missed the entire town. But it's a little small town, very rural area, and we didn't have a lot of technology classes and all as we grew up in Tappahannock. It was very farm related. So it has very been um, an environment that allowed you to grow for sure. So, and I'll get into technology. We did have a class or two, not many as we're focused on girls for that matter, but we did have a class or two, and I took typing class was my first start. And I really loved how to type. So I really started going with computers because I really loved to learn, love typing. And I took a programming class, and I absolutely loved it. It gave me the opportunity to to be creative. It gave me the opportunity to say, this is, if I do this, this actually happens, and I am the owner of this. So to see men jump around the screen, and it was just an exciting time for me. So I wanted to pursue information technology as I went into college. I did major in management information systems. I didn't kind of stick with the programming piece of it. My passion was more around networking. It was more around networking. So I majored in management information systems while I was in college. Unfortunately, when I got out of college, I did went on an entirely different path. It was an entirely different path of technology. But I found my roots eventually. I found my roots and went back to take a couple classes after being in adulthood for a little while. Found my roots, went back, took a few classes, and I kind of took boot camp classes and took a few certifications. So I learned that although I went through college and took some college courses, I still took some certification classes as well. And once because they're getting out of college and not participating in technology for a while after college, I felt I needed to freshen up some courses a little, so I took some
Mhm.
certification classes.
Nice. Okay, so already at a very young age, you were introduced to technology, as we all were, but somehow or another, it just kind of gravitated to you, and you gravitated to it, and and became one of those things that you just kind of just sought out right immediately, right? So, what was your experience, growing up? Just wanting to get in technology, was there a lot of interest of other women that was your age that also had the same interest as you in technology?
Not really. The class that I was able to take, it was primarily boys in the class. Girls were more led to take classes like home ec, as opposed to taking vocational classes in which the computer class was. But I was just very glad that I did decide to take the class. But there weren't really many girls in that class at all, and I never, I guess, I've been there so many years ago. Um, it wasn't really a big boys and girls thing. It was just one of those things that was, it felt like it was known. It felt like that was the way it was supposed to be. But I did not feel like I couldn't take the class, but it was definitely primarily boys in the class, and that was evident in going through that entire process.
Yeah, I found that also to be a struggle as well. That it's a lot of there's a lot of men in that area, and I think primarily because for years and years and years, it's always been a male dominant industry. But over
Mhm.
the last 20 years, that number has flipped tremendously for a lot of women who are now in information technology. And so, just fast forwarding to today, talk a little bit about your experience just coming up through the ranks and just being able to elevate yourself in technology with the challenges of being a female in this industry.
Well, starting over 20 years ago, I I was walked in the door feeling very intimidated, feeling like I really had to make sure I proved myself. Especially when you walk in the door and you don't see many people that look like you. So I felt like I had to go above and beyond. I felt like I had to stay late. I had to come early. I had to. But the good part about that is I liked doing what I did. I enjoyed my job, so it wasn't like it was a huge chore. I mean, I wanted to learn. I kind of soaked up as much information as I possibly could. And I guess that was noticed throughout the years. It was noticed, and I was approached in several occasions about promotions. So I tried to keep with that mindset of feeling like I had to represent, so to speak. I had to make sure that I walked the part and dressed the part and talked the part of being a professional. And again, I think that helped with being noticed and being asked for and asked, was I interested in different promotional opportunities. So I, of course, took advantage of every opportunity that I could. Now, of course, as I moved from a supervisor and to a director position, there wasn't everyone that was happy for you. There were those that didn't think that you deserved it. Um, but starting as an engineer, as a junior engineer, and working my way up from an engineer to a supervisor to a director was really like the big turning point for me. I still, at that point, thought there were some women, mostly 95% men. There were some women, and actually we getting a female supervisor, and that kind of turned the times for me as well. So moving forward to getting a director's position and moving forward to a deputy CIO. But in that time frame, I'm still having to do my part. I'm still having to walk the walk and talk the talk. There were many times where I would go to meetings and, I'm the only one, only female around the table and the only African American around the table, especially in the, I would say, the management world. So towards, I'd say, mid-career, um, there were more females. There were more females that were coming on board. So I was, of course, was very excited to see that. I eventually had a female a CIO at the time. So there were more females that were coming on board. Not many African
Hmm.
Americans, but more
Right.
females that were coming on board.
Okay.
Um, and so getting my to moving up from a deputy CIO to the CIO position myself. So it
Hmm.
has been it has been a journey, and it has been a very rewarding and exciting journey. Although it has definitely has had its challenges, but also exciting and rewarding at the same time.
What would you consider maybe two of your biggest challenges during that time? And I think for me, just hearing you say that there were other female CIOs was very encouraging for me because there wasn't when I was coming up through it. It was all male for me. I didn't have any female CIOs or IT managers. And so I think, like you, when I got to become an IT manager, it just felt really good, to be
Mhm.
a female. But what would you consider to have two major challenges that you had to overcome just to get through those times and, to keep you in a positive mindset?
I'd say probably the biggest challenge was not feeling heard, not feeling like what you said was being taken into consideration. That you're feeling like you're beating a dead horse at times of when you're trying to say being more involved and you're not just being heard. So it kind of gave you that, well, maybe I just shouldn't say anything, or maybe I shouldn't. But I say one thing is that I learned from that was um I had to because of being in the state government and where I am. There's so many different technologies. There's so many different facets. Being in this agency, we have a lot of different areas, responsibilities of a lot of different areas, including project management, including infrastructure, including phones, including desktop support. So there were so many different areas of responsibility. So I learned that I really just had to kind of stick with as far as your niche, especially in growing up and moving up in the world. You had to kind of find that piece that you're really really good at, because there were so many different areas. You had to really kind of find that niche of where what you were really good at, and I found and I did. I found that, and that was a lot in revolving the contract management. But and so you realize you can't necessarily speak up on everything, but I felt like they I had to was put in my, I don't want to say put in a corner, but put into a situation of where you're finding your niche of what you were more so of being responsible for, and not
Hmm.
being all over the place.
Right, absolutely, absolutely. You kind of reminded me, as I was listening to the story of, of this excerpt that I wrote for one of the books, Women Who Lead, where I talk about how one of my biggest challenges was feeling like I was in a box. Just, like you said, you don't want to be in a box, right? But I felt like I was
Mhm.
in a box with no light, that there was no way out because of all of the adversity that I went through just trying to just do my job on a daily basis. And so I talk about that and how I overcame that. And it just seems like, when I'm listening to your story and how you kind of turned it around and use that energy to propel you forward, I feel even more encouraged that those who are listening to your story right now are going to also move forward and be inspired, because it is hard. I get clients all the time that tell me how difficult it is to be a female in this industry. And I'm hoping that after 20 years of being in it, that it's getting better. I think it
Mhm.
is getting better, but I
Mhm.
do also think that, like you said earlier in your interview, that if you're not putting forth the education to position yourself for these opportunities
Mhm.
to kind of
Mhm.
propel yourself forward, you're going to be stuck in the same situation for a
Mhm.
while. And
Mhm.
I find that to be true with most IT positions. You kind of get just stuck.
Yeah, and that stuck is a key word. It is a key word, and
Yes,
you're
it
so right. You
is.
don't want to get stuck. I find that
Uh-uh.
you find out where you really want to go, and just keep moving. You don't have to keep stick with that one item. I would say find
Mhm.
that item and master it, and then move on to the next. There's the playing field is so wide, and there's so many a different plethora of different things to understand and to learn. It's you don't try to be stuck in any type of environment. So
Mhm.
one of the other challenges, and you had mentioned, was really, and as I think about it now, I didn't see it so much back then. But one of the main challenges and all that I saw is not really having someone that you could relate to. Not really having someone that you could could be your mentor, someone that you can go to for certain areas. I felt like I was kind of on this island by myself so many times, and um, not having, I guess, that proper mentorship, or at least having that place of where you feel like you could go talk to someone that really understood what you might be going through, is where I found to be another challenge for me.
Yeah, it is hard to find people who you can relate to that understands what you're going through. But you know what? You did it. And I am so excited for you. And so now we're going to be talking about all this good excitement stuff that you are doing and developing right now. So you can tell everybody about Taste of Technology and some of the other things that you're doing. I know you're excited. So go ahead. Let's talk about that.
Yeah, super excited, super excited. So, going up through the years, in technology, I I didn't always see it. When I started getting a lot more involved and dealing with trying to get more women involved, and as I did see more and more, it's like this, looking at the statistics and even looking at the environment around me, is realizing that we are so not in the number. So I wanted to find ways of how to actually make us feel a little more comfortable in their environment. First, of how to get in their environment, and how to feel more comfortable in their environment. I Taste of Technology is one of my visions about making awareness to technology, because you see you don't have more women in technology. How can we make this awareness? I find that if you're not exposed to something, if you're not aware of something, you really don't even have a means of, what are your means to try to get involved. So I'm really kind of focusing now on kids as well as women. But what is that area of exposure? How can you make them aware of what of the technology these days? If you find that there are so many, technology is just running everything in every industry. It's needing in every industry. There are so many available jobs even today, and there's going to be even more available jobs in the future of technology. Everything. They want it bigger, they want it faster, they want it more convenient. And technology is the key to all of that. So you see all these available jobs. You see that more and more, and the availability is increasing every day. Why not introduce people more to this technology world? So that's where Taste of Technology comes from, is exposing and bringing awareness to the technology field, of having different exposing, I say giving a taste of different technology careers for our kids, and primarily focusing right now on our kids. So if we came across several examples of kids that um, didn't really understand of what this computer class was. I didn't really understand that in this class I can learn about being more creative. I can learn to be more assertive, critical thinking, design thinking. There were so many different areas in which the kids were didn't really have in their mindset. So when they're speaking to some of these kids who didn't even have no clue as to what some of the technology was, or what being in part of this class actually meant. So I wanted to present the opportunities for them to be aware. And so Taste of Technology does just that. We have it's an event that we're starting, and we're having different IT professionals to come in to provide work groups to our youth, and there are different careers, there are different opportunities in technology that the kids can get accustomed to. We have project management, there's cybersecurity, there's networking and building a PC. Um, there's coding, of course, so there's different work groups that the kids will be introduced to, so they can really kind of get a taste of what the technology careers are, and see if this
Mhm.
is really something that they like to move forward with.
Right. I love the fact you call it taste of technology and you have all these different areas of expertise and fields. Because one of the things I also get a lot from college students specifically, that they want to go into information technology, but then when I always ask the question, what in technology that you want to do, they have absolutely no clue, right? They
Exactly.
have no clue. They just know that they have a cell phone, they have everything like that, and they think it's just one or two little things. But me and you both know that information technology is so vast. You have
Mhm.
so many
Mhm.
different branches and
Mhm.
areas in which you can just excel, but just having like a little taste, you know.
Mhm.
Have like a little, I have to say it like that, have a little taste, you know. I think that they're going to get something out of it, and I do think that there are lots of events like yours out there. So, can you name some maybe three top benefits that you're going to be doing that is different, where people can actually know? Because I know you gave some earlier, but I want you to hit those, like those top three things of why students, particularly the young ones, should come out and really get like this taste of technology.
So not only will they be able to see different work groups and go through different work groups, but I wanted to include the IT professionals themselves. IT professionals, that they can see that these are individuals, these are real life individuals that are in these careers themselves. I wanted the IT professionals to give some examples and share their experiences of what they've been through and how they got to where they are. We have engineers, we have doctors, we actually have developers, we have different people from different shades of life that will be coming to speaking to the kids. I wanted them to have an opportunity to actually be able to network with them, ask questions. How did they get there? What are they doing to stay there? We also have organizations. I wanted to not only provide okay, so now they get this taste of technology, so now what do you do with it? So I attended several different classes and mentor classes, and we want to introduce a lot to the kids, and we do introduce to the kids, but there's not always a means of keeping the kids engaged. So I always the whole one of the main purposes to make sure it's not successful to me if the kids do not have a means to continue. It's nice to come in and get the idea, you get a taste. Okay, yes, I see this coding class. I think I want to be a programmer. But then we kind of leave them hanging and they don't have a means to try to find to another work group or another organization or another class or to move forward with even doing programming. I wanted to make sure that there are organizations, there are groups, there are training classes that are available to the kids even after the event so that they can continue and within their education. So not only will they be able to attend the work groups that with the different levels of technology, they'll be able to speak directly to people, to IT professionals that are actually doing the work today, and then they'll also be able to associate with the different organizations that where they can continue their interest in technology. Now, some of these organizations are even offering free training classes. They're offering internships. They're offering job placements. So the basic technology is for kindergarten through college. So I wanted to, and I know it's a huge number, but I didn't want to leave any age group out. I wanted to make sure that all was included and there was something for all age groups that was available to the kids at the event. And moving forward to the organizations we're working on a means of making sure that the kids stay engaged and also working on statistics and ways of follow-up and keeping a handle on the kids and providing some level of mentorship even after the event is over.
Wow. I'm still sitting here like, where was all of this when I was going through? I mean, really, where was all of this information? And I think for me, I'm in the old generation. I came up when there wasn't even a Windows platform. It was just a dot and two
Mhm.
things looked like Atari, and it was called Wang. And I remember,
Oh wow, wow, yeah.
yes, I remember when it was really literally like that. And so just seeing that there's an individual out there that is providing all of these resources to not only the kids but also adults and also educating people like myself on what's changed, the trends, because after a while you lose track because technology is so vast and it's speedy and it's easily outdated. Like tomorrow, the,
Yes,
the stuff that came
yes,
out today is
yes.
outdated tomorrow. So it also gives people who also are in the industry to come to you an event and see what's new, what's changed, what's interesting, and what the kids are into and things of that nature. So first of all, congratulations on your
Thank
taste of
you.
technology.
Thank
I'm going to
you.
try to make it out to the taste because I got to see what kind of taste you're talking about. So, and I think that everybody should come out. And even if they miss this event, I'm pretty sure you're going to be having some other stuff going
Absolutely.
on. Yeah. So basically, if you wanted to share like any other events or things that you're planning or where you're speaking at to share with everybody so they can get in contact with you.
Well, one thing that I have as far as the taste of technology, wanted to move forward with not just in technology, but into the STEM world itself. So our
Hmm.
next event is actually going to focus on science. We have a lot of science professionals, and more people than I'd actually it was just astounding to see when I started reaching out to see all of those that were involved in the science world, especially with African Americans. We there's also engineering and mathematics, so we'll be having different events. This is around technology, but we'll also be working our way around STEM period and introducing different levels of careers for science, engineering, as well as mathematics. So we'll be looking out for that. I do have we'll be speaking at different events actually for mentoring for the most part. I'm a huge mentor. I love mentoring to the young girls, especially me because I didn't have one growing up in this IT world. But you hear so many different things of what they're going through, and I work on trying to help them through what those issues are. How can we help them moving forward? They get new jobs. So it's been very exciting in that mentor world. So there's different organizations that I work with as far as mentoring and speaking and different engagements to other women. Find like there are so many that need that encouragement that it is disheartening sometimes to see how we hear that there are some women that are not being treated fairly, and that's where it makes me have this extreme passion also for diversity and inclusion, of working with different companies to try to have better diversity and inclusion initiatives for women in the workplace. So as far as in mentoring and including in diversity and inclusion, those are
Mhm.
things that I have a passion about of
Yeah.
moving forward.
Nice. And I definitely believe in your passion because I have the same. And I'm going to wish you all the best of luck to do that. And just let me know if you need any help with any of that. I am down. I'm always down for awareness and education. And for everybody who is listening to this podcast, if anything that we're saying is resonating with you, if you're in the information technology space and you kind of understand what we're talking about and you have further questions or you want some kind of counseling from Kenyatta, please go to her bottom of her page, click on her link or her email and reach out to her and ask those questions, or you can reach out to me and I will make sure that your question get answered,
Absolutely.
because we are definitely looking to expand the knowledge of the different ways that technology can be used throughout the world. And so if you're looking to host like an event, if you would like Kenyatta to put together a taste of technology for your organization, definitely make sure that you reach out to Kenyatta or myself so that we can work with you to bring that type of platform to your city or state. So, outside of that, give everybody your email address so that they can contact you, and anything else you want to share at the end of your interview. And I have one more question after that.
I can first. I just want to say thank you so much. It is always a pleasure to be able to speak and to kind of put your story out there so others can hear, and in hopes that it can definitely encourage someone else. It is not. I was hope that my story could try to help and understand for other young ladies that if I could do it, you could do it too. I know we're always striving for seeing other women in technology, but one thing's for sure is we can't really see um, other women, so we try to help them along, right? So that's what one of my goals is, to try to help other women along in the world of technology. But I can be
Okay.
reached at Kenyatta.Powers, Kenyatta dot powers two, the number two, POWERS two at gmail.com is my email address. And but I'm also can be reached on social media at Kenyatta G Powers at Facebook, and Kenyatta G Powers also on Twitter
Mhm.
and Instagram.
Wow, well, fantastic. So, you guys, you have it here, a woman of color out there as a CIO and doing amazing things with her talent. And you can too if you're in information technology. So I invite you to please like, share, and vote if you like this podcast platform. We have 7 awards up for grabs this year, just like we did last year. And if you would like to see who won a BMWC award, please make sure you go to ALSTNTECpodcast.com and click on the prior year podcast. We have people in 2017 and we have people in 2018 that have won awards. And so make sure you like, share, and vote. So thank you so much, Kenyatta, for being on the podcast platform and supporting and being part of the movement. I sure appreciate you and wish you all the best and luck with your event.
Thank you. Thank you so much.